Now, I don't really care about this discussion going back and forth about Xbox and PlayStation, but I was really interested in this interview because this might change the gaming industry in the future. Now, Phil Spencer is the CEO of Xbox, so he is the head of Xbox right now, right? And he went on this interview on YouTube, some channel that covers a lot of Xbox news called Kinda Funny Games, to address all the issues that has been happening lately with Xbox, with Redfall and the hardware sales and stuff like that, right? Which I think it's cool of him to go in and address and talk, the honest truth in this podcast or whatever it was, and address these issues. You don't really see that every day. So anyway, he admitted to Redfall release was a mistake.
Revisit our process. I think back to the announcement of 60 frames per second, and then we weren't shipping 60 frames per second. That was kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully, a couple weeks ago. And then seeing the game come out and the critical response was not what we wanted.
That they knew that, it was going to be 30 frames before they even said that everything was going to be 60 frames. They knew that was going to happen, and they still released the game. And he said that was my mistake and stuff like that. And that they will try to do better moving forward, which I'm interested on seeing in action, not just, by word. But some key points that I was interested in was, first, when he said that he is basically hands off on their own games, that he lets his developers make their own creative ideas.
But one thing I won't do is push against creative aspirations of our team. Force them to go do the one kind of game that they have a proven track record for. And I'm just not a believer in that. Maybe that means I'll under-deliver for some of our fans out there, but we will build games that review in the high 80s, and we will build games that review in the 60s. I mean, it's just kind of part of being in game publishing. And if you're afraid of that, then you shouldn't be in the entertainment business. You shouldn't be in the games business. That said, every time we deliver something below our own internal expectations that surprises us, we should check our process.
So sometimes they will make 80 rated games, and sometimes they will make 60 rated games. And I get what he's trying to say in terms of he likes his studios to be creative in their own way instead of forcing them to stick to what they're good at. But for me, I agree and disagree, because as a company or a developer, wouldn't you want your games to be high quality rated games and reviewed really high, especially AAA games, right? Why would you settle and make it a mediocre game? I don't really get that logic of what he said, because if that's the case, it feels like he doesn't really care if the games come out good or not, So I think he should definitely be more hands-on in their studios, while also giving them that freedom, but not entirely, because then you get product that is just not good for the most part, right? And I think we could all agree on that. So now we know these games themselves have been delivering not so hot based on what he said here, right? But the main topic that I was interested in this interview was when he said that their goal, he basically, to summarize, said that their goal is not to sell consoles, that if they made great games, that wouldn't change anything. They will still be in the bottom from PlayStation and Nintendo in terms of console market, right?
We'll say, this might be disruptive as well, we have a different vision. Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of, obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people. You're not in a position, and I see it out there, I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way.
That their main goal basically is Game Pass. And at first I was kind of confused on why he would say this, but then it started to make sense. Basically they're trying to do something different than PlayStation and Nintendo, and that is Game Pass, cloud gaming, potentially streaming services, And I get that because Nintendo had to do the same thing when the Wii U flopped, they had to change, and they designed the hybrid, which made them what they are right now, right? So I get that. People are mad that he said that he admitted that they can't come back even if they make great games. And I feel bad for the Xbox console owners, because for the most part it feels like the console is not their main concern. Instead, the Xbox brand itself expanding upon different devices and just be, you know, everywhere potentially in the future. So I feel bad for the people that actually have the consoles, because he basically admitted that, you know, we can't come back how it was before, you know, on the 360 days. So that's really unfortunate, and it's crazy to me because we might see Xbox like the Epic Store on PC, or like an app on the TV like Netflix, where they have shows, movies, and then their video games, or even like Xbox on other consoles, if they just focus on, or if they're just trying to focus on the Game Pass stuff. Now, I do agree with him saying that even if they make great games, it won't change nothing in the Xbox console side selling more than Nintendo, PlayStation. Because I mean, look at Nintendo with the GameCube, right? The GameCube had incredible games, timeless games, you know, to this day, that we know they're really good games, and it still underperformed. It flopped in sales, and a lot of people forget that happened. The GameCube did not sell well, even though it had those great games. So I do believe him in this topic where he said that it wouldn't matter if they made great games. But I think if you want Game Pass to be your main focus, right, you have to create great games regardless for the service, so you can have more subscribers, more people interested signing up to the Game Pass. Because even if you don't care for the console sales, you could still sell that service if you put good games, you know. And I think on that we could all agree on. Now, what does this mean for the future of Xbox consoles though? Does this mean that next gen or the following generation from that, we won't see Xbox making a console? Eventually, it looks like that could be the case, where, you know, we would only see the PlayStation and Nintendo doing consoles, and Xbox would just be basically like a Sega situation, where they would just publish Xbox games and put that service on an app, or even put Xbox games on PlayStation or Nintendo. I mean, you never know. I don't know, but it does leave a lot of questions to be answered. Only time will tell, but it will suck if Xbox is not in the console market in the future, because for the most part, competition is good, right? But what do you guys think? Are you upset in the situation? Sad? Happy? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.